everybody seems to have gut issues because it's something that, obviously we make like a red light panel that's to heal the gut. And I find almost everybody that I speak to has some kind of gut issue.
100%, 80% of cause is food. Another one is, of course, because once you start eating bad food, because of your gut microbiome, even your thoughts change, your anxiety. So all those things are interrelated, and it's hard to say which is first and which is second, but the moment people start eating differently, their mood change, their behavior change, their thoughts, like what they care about in the world change too.
Breaking the gray.
Welcome back to the Rebel Scientist podcast. I'm Chantel, your host here with my co-host Sarah Turner. And today's wonderful guest is a culinary alchemist and longevity advocate. We're joined by Natalie Gorba, the chef behind Healthier Chef, Harvard, Stanford, and Cornell trained, blending plant-based cooking with evidence, energy, and meaning. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you, ladies. So nice to see you again.
Wonderful to have you.
Yeah. So I think last time we saw you was in LA. And you were getting going with some of the stuff that you're doing. We actually got to try some of your wonderful food at one of these events.
Yes.
But maybe you can just give us a little bit of background about yourself and kind of why you've started doing this and kind of what your passion really is.
Well, I don't know where to start, but my background, I come from Russia. When I moved to the United States, I worked as a professional model. Within 2 years of living here, I gained 35 pounds. Which I couldn't lose for a very long time, for 3 years. And I tried to fight it, and I tried so many things that didn't work out, and like my metabolism slowed down, and like I just was either accepting this reality of becoming a big girl, which I didn't want to. I knew that there are women who are 50, 60, 70, and they look amazing, and I wanted to be one of them. So my journey is very long. I'm not going to put you to all those things, but once I figured that out, I went to the culinary school, and I was sharing that on my social media, and my first client noticed me and hired me to become his private chef, and then others did too. And I worked over the years with celebrities, artists, athletes, mainly athletes, because for them physical shape is very important, and they want to perform and play longer. And the younger they are, the easier it is to just digest anything and everything. But if you want to stay in the game for longer, you start caring about those things. And what I noticed working with the athletes which was an amazing experience. The moment they're bought by a different team and go to different city or sometimes country, all the results that I put all them like into it go back to zero. However, at the same time, I had some clients who couldn't afford me as a private chef, but they asked me to coach them, to train them. And they said like, well, I'll make it myself. Just teach me what to do and how to do it. And their progress was dramatically different. Their lifestyle would change. They would constantly lose weight, start looking the way they never looked before. Some of them never in their entire life looked the way they should. And of course, it empowered me, and I just wanted to share that with the world. And that's how originally I would start thinking about Healthier Chef. Then I met my best friend and now business partner, Irina, who has a background of building apps and digital products. And with her together, we came up with our first master program, Healthier Chef, and now building other programs, detoxes, master classes free for people to watch as well. So this is kind of the story behind it.
Amazing. I also read that I didn't know about you is that you were raised by medical professionals. And I was wondering for you, and you coming from Russia, how that upbringing influenced your relationship with nutrition and health and the industry, and obviously you being a model. Do you feel like there's things that you learned, growing up with them that you made it easier to transition into doing the work you do now?
Absolutely. I can tell you that I was raised with no sugar in the house, no white bread or like processed food at all. It was annoying when I was like very little. everyone was allowed to
You
eat
wanted.
things. I was given to go to school a salad and just something that didn't look very attractive, and kids made fun of me. However, like I really admire people who never had that, never had parents who are doctors, and are they making this change? Because the hardest thing over and over is to change your habits, something that like in your mind is nourishing you, like some childhood memory that if you go and eat a burger, you feel like cared for, you feel cozy, you feel home. Like I don't even have that memory. And I was the one to gain so much weight for a very short period of time. People who never had that so admire and respect their effort to do something about it and change their behavior, because I know it's the hardest thing to do. And I'm fortunate to be a part of their journey.
What do you think is the cause at the moment? Everybody seems to have gut issues. Do you find that in your client group? Because it's something that, obviously we make like a red light panel that's to heal the gut. And I find almost everybody that I speak to has some kind of gut issue. Do you find that? And what do you think the cause is?
100%, 80% of cause is food. Another one is, of course, because once you start eating bad food, because of your gut microbiome, even your thoughts change, your anxiety grows. So all those things are interrelated, and it's hard to say which is first and which is second. But the moment people start eating differently, their mood change, their behavior change, their thoughts, like what they care about in the world change too. So I would say still 100% is nutrition.
Do you think it's different, like because you put on the weight when you came to the States? So do you think there's something about the American diet that's kind of leads particularly to these gut issues?
Absolutely. It's the standard American diet with the burgers. To be honest, like when I gained weight, I didn't eat that. I was eating normal food. I didn't know about all the chemicals that are treated like normal vegetables, because I was always making my food from scratch. But in my country, I didn't have to think about things organic or not organic. Everything was organic. Yeah, we didn't have labels growing up, but there will be some granny growing tomatoes on her garden, and you go and take it once a week. So no one thought or was educated. I wasn't educated about what we put into the food, and even like of course, some packaged food, what type of preservative, like we don't think about it, like why this food is good for a year or 2 years. That means the bacteria doesn't eat them. So that's why they have this stable shelf life. But if bacteria doesn't eat it, how your gut bacteria should eat it? No, it wouldn't, right? So we don't think of those things because we're not educated. And I wanted to say, I often say it, but like my biggest passion would be to teach nutrition at school. I don't understand why don't we have this subject. We learn math, we learn geography and all those other like important subjects, but everyone eats. Every person on this world, in this planet, eats every single day, and we don't know basics of nutrition. We start figuring it out closer to when we get to our 40s, if we're lucky. Some people never do that because it's very hard and it's very challenging. And some people it's impossible for them at their 40s to try and change their behavior. I admire those who can, but again, not everyone has that strength. So if we would have it during the childhood, that's why, like my company, what we're doing, we are changing the family's dynamic. We teach families to meal prep, to cook together as a family tradition every Sunday. That unites, that you spend more time together, you're doing something, you appreciate food more, you don't throw away food that you made. If the child made their food, they're like really, it was so much effort. So you appreciate it more, but then most importantly, you build a new family tradition and you learn from your early age what it is homemade food, how different it tastes, what it is about nutrition that you need to know, like the diversity of different fruits and vegetables and how to combine them. I think this is where the power stands. It's very hard to teach something theoretically. And most importantly, the food should taste good. Because no matter all the theory lessons, all these structures, all the nutrients, if you're not enjoying your food and you're like kind of hating your existence by eating healthy, you're not going to last.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
definitely. And it's amazing that you're bringing, even though you're saying nutrition, you're including so many critical things that obviously incorporate things like community and happiness, because that's something I was going to ask you also, like big changes and we don't realize all the effects. So I wanted to ask you, how do you, because obviously each client's slightly different, do you have a program that you sort of take them through, or if someone came to you, where is the starting point? And besides like the meals that you say like once a week, how do you work with people? And can you give us a little run through?
Our program are combined theory lessons, which are taught by world-leading experts. Like we have Dan Buettner from Luzon, we have PhD and microbiome experts, and nutritionists, registered dietitian nutritionists, and naturopathic doctors, like all the best specialists who I wanted to learn from myself. I was able to attract into the program, and we recorded like 5 to 6 minutes video lessons that are very easy to digest. They're not speaking on our scientific language, which wouldn't be understood, but rather explaining in a very simple words, so you have a structure and understanding. But then we didn't want to keep a theory. By the end of these theory lessons, you learn how to implement it in the recipes into your life, what you just learned, how to make a recipe that is like diverse in this and covers half of your microbiome needs, how to have high protein meals, like even one lunch, how to make it, and how to meal prep, how to make one sauce that will cover like 3 or 4 different dishes. So you don't eat over and over same thing, but you don't spend on the kitchen, 8 hours. You can make everything in 2 hours. So that's like some of the principles, but you have to have the structure. The most important thing that what we're teaching is the basics, fundamentals of nutrition. So like that you can take with you, like either you use my recipes or you choose to experiment and create your own. But to understand the principles, that's where we stand in.
And I have to ask you, because we're kind of, my background is the biohacking world. And actually in the biohacking world, the focus is mainly on carnivore eating, or at least nose to tail, or having some kind of organ meat in your diet. So I have to ask you kind of what is, you're plant-based.
Yes.
What is your thought on that? Or do you think it's more important to I love the way you just spoke about, educating people about family and making it with love and all of that kind of thing. What's your kind of take on this different kinds of diets?
Well, it's I follow the science and nutrition studies, and I've learned how at the Cornell University, I've learned how to read them rather than listen to other people's interpretation of them. So my motivation, and the big one, is what the data shows, what longevity champions eat. And we have Dan Buettner, who is a good proof of that, who traveled all over the world with the National Geographic, and that's how Blue Zones were born. And so far it shows that out of all the centenarians, 90 to 98% of what they eat is whole food plant-based diet. So just that data on its own shows and proves that this is the way to go. We can discuss the carnivore like for a very long time, but the true carnivore is someone who is hunting the animal, eats from bones to tail with a skin, not cooking, not putting salt, not like preserve. Like that's how it is. It's working in nature. That's just what I'm saying. Could you live on that? Probably you can. I'm just following the data. I don't want to experiment with my body when there are so many studies and experiments where already happened, and it shows that you can live to 100, 110, 115, being 90 to 98% whole food plant-based.
And what would you say in terms of the foods that you within the plant? I know because you speak about the diversity and obviously that realm of nutrition, but are there foods that you lean towards? Say we're talking about longevity and biohacking, your like top few foods that you lean more towards, and like your top few foods that you stay completely away from. I know we mentioned sugar already, and being in the States, there's a lot of things to kind of be
So
aware of?
basically, Chantel, I make everything from scratch. So I don't buy anything that is like packaged. Like if it's tomato sauce, I make it. If it's like another thing, and I think here, people like who are paleo or whatever, like here we can all agree that processed food is not the way to go. However, there are some processed food that are healthy, are like, I don't know, like the tofu, or for example, the kimchi, fermented foods. It's still processed. It's not like the way it came from nature, but it became healthy and sometimes even more bioavailable. So there is a highly processed food. There is just processed food. I mean, if you make a soup, is it processed? I think so. Soup doesn't grow on the on the tree, right? So, like, it could be a healthy way. When, I mean, ideally, you process food yourself. I ferment everything as well, and this is incredible, and one more time, incredible for your microbiome. So it is what I stay away from. Obviously, processed food, sugary drinks. I don't love them. I don't have them. What you lean towards too. So there is one study called American Gut Project. Like if you've heard about that study, where people sent samples from all over the world, and there was like almost 10,000 participants, I believe. And it shows that people who had 30 plus plants per week had significantly healthier microbiome than those who had less than 10. So we know that diversity is very important. And if you start counting, and it could be like just a different something, could be carrot and celery and tomato of different color will have a different phytonutrients. So it will count as a different plant source, even if it's the same type of vegetables or fruit. However, like from Dan Buettner, who teaches in our school, what we've learned is that people, if you eat 1 cup of beans a day, it could extend your life expectancy up to 4 years. So 1 cup of beans a day, if you can. First, it's high protein. Another one, it just brings the longevity. And people who live the longest, they not necessarily have more money. Like a lot of times they just couldn't afford meat. They didn't want like, oh, I want to be a longevity champion. And because of that, just to fill themselves up with something, they would eat those beans. So I think 60% of what they were eating was beans, actually. So I'm trying to incorporate that. It's not something I grew up with. So I'm experimenting with recipes where they're organically, like some soup where I could add some lentils, maybe some. I made bean stroganoff. Like that's one of my key, beef stroganoff. I come from Russia, so I created bean stroganoff, and it's phenomenal. Mind-blowing. Like anyone ever tried it, love it. So I'm just trying to eat some beans, leafy greens, of course, at least once a day. I exercise, workout, so I'm okay with a creatine after the workout to build my muscle. So
I'm not creatine. You take it as a powder?
Well, I add it to my smoothie.
Oh, you add it to smoothies. Yeah, interesting. I was going to ask you what you're doing in addition to the diet, because I was a nutritionist for a few years. And what I found was a lot of the times the diet isn't quite enough. You also have to incorporate 1, exercise, 2, mindset. I think that is also important. But now obviously I'm much more on the light trip, and also bringing in light, because we now know for healthy biome, you need all of these things. So I just wondered, what do you add to your protocols, or you recommend in addition? Like the creatine is an interesting one. Is there anything else that you add?
I do, of course. I take omega-3. I take, I don't take B12 as a B12. I use nutritional yeast in a lot of recipes. I create my own, and it have above and beyond the amount. I take coenzyme Q10. What else do I take? Let me try to count. NAD plus as well.
in capsule form?
In the capsule form, yes.
Yeah, because for me, that's because I was taking you have to take 12 capsules or something to get the right amount, don't you? Or have you found one that's like a high strength?
I have a high strength, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Is there anything, when you're talking about beans and stuff, I'd be curious to know, as someone who's like also if you can't tolerate a lot of the like foods, especially with plant foods, or that have, like, I know a lot of people that can't do beans, lentils, legumes, just in general. Which
So,
other
yeah.
foods would you say that, does there's anything
Mhm.
that's kind of on par with that same protein level that also you've seen?
This is a
Yeah.
great question. And a lot of times why you cannot tolerate something is because you don't have microbiome to digest it, because you didn't feed this microbiome to grow. So we have a method with a registered dietitian nutritionist who is teaching how to incorporate the new foods into your diet. You start with a tiny amount. It could be 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon. And, in 24 hours, I believe it's like 50 or 60 generations of microbiome change in your gut within 24 hours. So what you feed it every day matters so much, how your microbiome shapes. So if you already were able to tolerate, let's say, 1 teaspoon or tablespoon, next day you can double the amount. And in 2-3 days, you can again double the amount until you grow it into the good amount to have this abundance of protein. At the same time, there are methods how to make it more digestible as well. Sprouting is an incredible tool and mechanism. It removes all the undigestible enzymes, and also makes more protein, makes it more digestible and much easier to work with. I sprout broccoli every week too. I love sprouted lentils, beans. I mean, the amount grows also, and you can add some of it into the salad, some of it into your soup. It's okay if you boil it, it's fine. But this way, much more people can tolerate towards it. But again, like if you didn't eat anything for a very long time, you're probably going to have a trouble to digest it right away. So it takes time. Like when you travel to a new country, like what happens, you try food that the food has, vegetables and fruit, by the way, have their own microbiome. And when it's unfamiliar to you, it's very hard to digest, and your body going to fight it and have its own reaction. So you just need to do it the right way.
Yeah, there are lots of, I think this whole thing with people having issues with their gut and having leaky gut or, different tolerances, again, it's to do with the microbiome. It's to do, maybe even all these Wi-Fi and everything, but also the light. That's why I think combining diet with things like light is helpful, because if you can, like you say, it's no use putting all of this good food into a gut that's not processing it.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to heal the gut before, otherwise you're just kind of putting all this wonderful food and nutrition into an area that can't handle it. So, what else do you do to try and get the person to a stage where they can absorb the nutrients from what you're doing? Because I think teaching people to cook is great, but, you have to get their bodies functioning optimally first.
Well, first of all, if person have leaky gut and other conditions, I don't recommend start working with just nutritionists. You go to a registered dietitian, you go to a doctor, you treat it first. So I don't think anyone should treat themselves if they have a serious issue. Like healthy people want to be healthier.
Yeah.
People who gain a little weight but don't have like this dramatic, like don't listen to anyone, don't listen to me, don't listen to internet, don't try to do your own research. Try to find incredible doctor who is aligned with things you lean towards and believe in. It's important. You should go. Yeah. You should go in the same path. But like again, for me, positive, like celebrate little successes. Like you can't overnight become like extremely healthy. It could gonna hurt your, just slowly inventing one. I'm not, by the way, our program is designed for complete beginners in the kitchen. But if you are complete beginner, even doing the whole program is a lot. If you made one recipe, that's a win. If you covered all your breakfasts already, you meal prep, I don't know, one of our breakfast recipes, and you're good for Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday. Incredible. What a huge step. If you can then, in a couple of weeks, add one healthy salad that you made yourself that takes 5 minutes, like with a sauce that you meal prep, like some healthy sauce that we teach you. Incredible. Celebrate. If you slap a little, that's okay. You're still on the way. So I think psychological help is even more important than just like what you do, but how you do it, and build a new identity about you being a person who is doing anything to be healthy. Because this self-talk, this negative self-talk, oh, I never could keep up. I always gain weight back. Like all those things you're talking to yourself, like before you even tried, you already like not believing that you can do it. Just start building and writing a new identity about yourself. If that helps, just write it down. I'm the type of person who exercise. I'm the type of person who try new things and always take care of themselves. I'm kind of person who figured that out. So I think the mental is very important. All the other things, of course, I like LED light and sunshine, at least like for 15 minutes a day if you live in the area where it's possible. Like I live in California, I'm very lucky, but I remember living in Russia where 9 months a year there's like very little to no sun. It was like clouds and clouds. I don't know how it is where you are, ladies.
Well, I'm in England, so I'm very used to grey skies here for sure.
I'm in South Africa, and it's amazing because it's very similar to California in that way. But I notice it so much, and our lives are also a lot more outdoors, I think. And that's what I found interesting about places like England, where if you're used to one way of being, but people manage, like it is interesting. But I do find I definitely notice the difference when I'm not in sunshine enough. I get more like what you talk about, the mental state is a big one for me, at least. And I realize how much you don't realize how much like they use the words like seasonal depression, but it's just your mood, because it's easier 100%. To just live in that nature's rhythm when you have the sun. Because when it's cloudy all the time, I find it a bit confusing. Like I think for the body.
I have a theory that we are, as a humans, like look at our skin, like we don't have to live in all those cold places. We're not designed to live there. We're not designed to thrive there, because we're evolutionary, really smart creatures, and we were able to spread all over the world, where as an animal species, we're probably not species without, we shouldn't be living. However, it just does this effect on our health, on our mood, on our digestion, on our longevity. So I absolutely think we're designed to live in the sunny place.
We're probably more equatorial creatures, actually. It's just like you say, we've been able to do it because, we wear animal skins or whatever we did in order to do that. But probably our biology paid a price. I agree with you. And I think that we, for that reason, we do need to take care of everything, have a holistic approach, respect our light environment, respect our food environment, respect the fact that we're tribal animals, like you were just saying, we're meant to kind of share things and share meals and be in packs and kind of be around, in social groups. So everything you're saying kind of speaks to that. We're not meant to be eating processed food in individual little boxes looking at a blue screen. That's not where we're going to thrive as a species. So very well said. And I love what you're doing. Maybe just tell us a bit about the courses that you're running and everything that you're doing so that we make sure that people get that information.
And you mentioned the detox program. If you can mention, because you said that's coming out very soon.
Absolutely.
Will be out when this episode is out. Yeah.
By the end of our podcast, I think it's going to be out. However, like we designed two things with my friend and a doctor, Dr. Stephanie Peacock. She's an environmental toxicity doctor. So we created a free masterclass for everyone to watch on toxic exposures, like to think and learn about all the things. A lot of them I'm sure but some of them you might not. Like I thought I knew everything when I started creating this masterclass, but even me during the process had to swap so many things that I thought already I'm doing right. So we're just like that's only designed for educational purpose. We're gonna give you a link for that. And also we designed a sustainable detox, which is not starvation method detox. You actually eat on this. Yes, we have some juices, but we also have delicious meals that are chef crafted, obviously, but they taste like in the best restaurants, and they support your natural detox pathway. So basically they're either high in glutathione or they help you produce more glutathione so you can clean your entire body. And it's been a big success. I tried it on my celebrity clients, myself included, and our other people. Absolutely everyone loves the recipes. You can eat them even after detox. But I'm very excited about that one. And we give you the basic information so you learn how to do it. And maybe one day you want to create your own detox.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Teach people how to do it rather than spoon feed them, and then people have the tools. It's about self-sovereignty, isn't it, in any of these health things?
Yeah. And also, again, check out at Natalie Gorba on Instagram. I share a lot of free recipes over there. Check healthierchef.com for our master program if you want to make food from home from scratch. And the detox and masterclass is going to be also hosted on healthierchef.com.
Amazing. And could you give the audience a little bit more on what the role of the importance of glutathione is? Because you mentioned obviously that playing a big role. Could you just give a brief overview? I know that's obviously part of your course, but
well, glutathione is a master antioxidant that your body produces naturally. However, because we, as we spoke with Sarah, we live where we're not designed to live. We are exposed to the things that are not designed by human nature. We being exposed to from the air we breathe in, wildfires, like I live in California, obviously the roads, then the water that you're cleaning your teeth with. Like, do you have a filter there? Your body is the biggest organ that absorbs all the chemicals and pharmaceuticals and all the other things when you take shower and things like that. Obviously, the things we cook with, when you have a meal delivery, there's a plastic, etc. So we put so many things. I don't want to take too much of our time that's left on our body that our body couldn't produce so much. Like it's not enough the balance. So first step of every detox is stop toxic exposures, and then support your liver's natural production and work. And we can do it through food. It's perfect to do it through food, and you are training your body to help you fight all those chemicals.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you're right. Avoid the toxins and then detox. It was lovely to speak to you. I think, Chantel, you've got some quick fire questions.
Yes.
And Natalie, it was great to see you. I hope we see you at another event soon. It would be good to come to LA and experience more of your lovely food.
It's always so nice to see you both.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you. And I love how we've been able to bump into each other so properly and finally get to sit down with you, because you're always so busy as well. And we did
some work, all kinds of things. Yeah, cool.
Yes. And so the rapid fire question, it's just whatever comes to mind. And the first one is the one health food that's overrated, that you think is overrated.
Nothing comes to mind. Goji berries.
Interesting one, wasn't it? Goji berries. I remember Scotland apples of those. They're so dry.
Yeah,
they are. I've had a lot of goji berries too. Yeah. A surprising kitchen staple you always use.
What is kitchen staple?
Like food, like one of the foods you use the most that you normally use in all your cooking. That's a kind of surprising. I mean, it can also just be something generic, but the thing you seem to use the most.
Broccoli sprouts.
Broccoli sprouts. Yeah. Amazing. And your morning ritual that you swear by?
Coffee. First coffee with talking to my mom. Second coffee, writing my new story, my new identity, the one that I told you about.
Amazing.
Yeah, very important. That's fabulous. Thank you so much. And you got more questions?
Yes, I got there. I wanted to ask you what book, if there's a book that shaped things for you, that started changing your way of thinking and all the work that you do. One that's had kind of like the biggest influence for you.
Yeah, so it always changed. I love reading. So it's not going to be an easy answer, but the latest one that I've read, probably like a couple of months ago, and that I really love, is The Art of Communication. Because I mean, it teaches you, of course, the art of communication. It's a Tibetan. I forgot how to pronounce it in English, but it's teaching you communicating with yourself and with your own pain before understanding the others people and the others people pain. So that's what I'm practicing at the moment, and I think it's shaping a lot of things how I'm doing them.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And okay, last one is if you could say one thing or like whisper one thing into people's ears before they eat. You know, we're talking about this mindset and all this community thing. Is there anything that you want to say to people, like if you before they're eating, like a little note or a little whisper?
Absolutely. Be present. Enjoy your meal. Don't think of anything. In this moment, there is only this dish and you. Enjoy it. Be grateful. And what else did I want to say? Yeah. And appreciate what you have. Yeah. Be grateful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
So wonderful talking to you.
Yes.
And be sure to catch Natalie Gorba on Instagram, and you're on all the platforms and thehealthierchef.com. And don't miss out on the programs. Yeah, great. Till next time.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, till next time.
Breaking the gray.